Good morning. This is Letitia with Soul Spread Wisdom, and I am here to talk about electional astrology. And who else better to use than our beloved Beyonce and her project that she recently released, Black is King. I had recorded this earlier, but this is a re-recording of it because I had to buy a new microphone. I had to update my program that I have, so hopefully you will be able to hear this better. I am going to try to use highlighting and so forth to make this plain. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe the video. Like and subscribe and share and leave a comment. I always respond to my comments, so I love it when you all write and engage with me. It means a lot to me. And I am dedicated to teaching this information to help us go higher towards the light and towards personal freedom and independence. And working with electional astrology is a way for us to work with the energies of the planets in order to accomplish our goals that we have set out. Sometimes if we could just decide, oh, I want to go and buy a new house. Well, if you don't have any planets like the sun or Mars helping your fourth house or helping your moon, it may be challenging for you to purchase a house at that time. So the biggest players on our planet, they use astrology and they use numerology before they plan to do things, before they release things. There is public knowledge about President Reagan using astrology to plan his inaugural speeches, the inaugurations, to plan different events. Astrology is used on the highest levels. So this is a way to see, and Beyonce, of course, one of the greatest leaders and most influential people in the world, she uses astrology in order to release her, whatever it is, her projects. And, I've paid attention to that for many years to see what the planets are doing when she releases her projects, because she wants to have the energy of the universe on her side to push her work forward so that she is not fighting against the elements and the power of the planets and the energies that are around us, but working with them to be able to have success. So in order to use electional astrology, you would take your birth chart. So I have Beyonce's birth chart here. And then whatever it is that you are planning to do, you want to take the chart of that day and you want to see how the planets will align with specific points in your birth chart. So Beyonce released a visual album, a visual album, a film, and the purpose of it was to honor her ancestral heritage. So in order to do that, where does she go in her chart? I don't know why that's there. Okay, excuse me. So where does she go in her chart to honor her ancestral heritage? She's going to go to the sign of Cancer. So for Beyonce, her MC or the midheaven, the highest point in the sky, the most visual part of her chart is the MC. This is for all of us. The most visual part that people see is the MC. For her, her MC is in the sign of Cancer at 21 degrees. So I'm going to try to highlight this. Okay, there we go. So here's her MC at 21 degrees in the sign of Cancer. So on this day, on July 31st, 2020, at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, which is when her project was released, Mercury is over here. This is the chart for the day, July 31st, 2020, at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mercury is in the sign of Cancer at 21 degrees. So what does that mean? So this gives her the gift of communication, to be heard by everyone who sees her. She has the strength of Mercury, who rules communication at the highest point of her sky. Okay, that's great. What else is happening on July 31st? And how else is this affecting her chart? So Beyonce has her moon right here in the sign of Scorpio at 20 degrees. So in her natal chart, she has a trine. So a trine is a very easy aspect, okay? It is one that flows smoothly. You don't have to try to work hard with it. Like if you have a square, you have to work hard to overcome the obstacles of a square. Well, this trine, when we hear the word trine, we hear a triangle in it. So we know that it involves 3 points, okay? So here's the water sign Scorpio. Here is her moon at 20 degrees, making a trine natally to her midheaven in the sign of Cancer. Now Mercury is here on this day, also helping out the moon. So the moon has to do with home. Moon has to do with mother. She is celebrating her motherland of Africa, of West Africa, really in particular, because during Black is King, we could see the celebration of the Orisha, which is from the Yoruba land, which is, West Africa. So she's celebrating that and that culture. So that links up to the moon and gives it an easy flow. Okay. Also, on July 31st, Neptune is here at 20 degrees of Pisces. So this Neptune at 20 degrees of Pisces is going to come into her 5th house right here. Now, she doesn't have any planets here in the sign of Pisces in the 5th house, but this energy is moving through her 5th house, giving her, so the 5th house rules creativity, it rules entrepreneurship, it rules children. And so Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So for Beyonce, she has what is called a grand trine, which is one of the best energies that you can have. So she has the energy coming in from the universe, meeting up with the planets that are in her natal chart in these water signs in a grand trine. So knowing that information right here, with Neptune, who rules glamour, Neptune rules creativity, music, art, okay? She was able to know that, or she probably has a very powerful and knowledgeable, gifted astrologer, I'm certain she does, to help her choose the best times. And knowing her, she knows herself because she has a lot of planets in the 12th house, and she has this water in her chart, the Scorpio moon. So I'm sure she herself already knows how to go in and look and see when would be the best times for her to release her projects. So this energy coming in just here alone on July 31st opened up a window for, with this Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, making a trine to Neptune. On the highest levels, it opened up a window for nurturing Cancer, a message of home, a message of mothering, a message that honors the ancestors, a message that brings in beauty and glamour and a visual pleasure, something that was emotional. And if you hear people talk about when they watch this film, it brought them to a deep place of emotion. So many people talked about how they cried. That is linked to this energy that was brought in by this trine of to Mercury and Neptune. And then again, this energy is activated in her chart, also including the moon, bringing in a grand trine. Okay, so what else do we have that helps Beyonce in this time? So Beyonce has her sun, she has Mars at 1 degree of Leo. This is in the 10th house. This is the house of career. This is the house of your reputation in the world. This is the house of your reputation. So Mars is here. The sun is at 8 degrees on this day. It's at 8 degrees of Leo over here on July 31st. So this sun is going to come over here and it's going to sit in Beyonce's 10th house. Okay? So this is giving her the energy of the sun coming in to her house of reputation. Leo is about performance. So the sign of Leo has to be seen. It needs to be seen. It needs to be celebrated. It needs to perform. Okay? So in her chart alone, we see that she is meant to be a performer, but a performer who cares about family, and she definitely has that reputation. So that aside, that sun is going to activate this Mars, which has to do with movement. It has to do with dancing. It has to do with the performance. It has to do with all of the energy set forth in this project. Okay, so she has the light of the powerful sun coming into her 10th house on this day as well. So this is a brilliant day to put out this project. Uranus is in the sign of Taurus on this day on July 31st at 3 a.m. It's at 10 degrees of Taurus. This Uranus is going to come over here and meet with Beyonce's sun, which is in the sign of Virgo, creating an easy aspect. This allowed Beyonce to have the light, the lightning truth of Uranus meeting up with the clarity of the light of the sun in Earth, in an Earth sign, grounded, being able to bring into manifestation. The Earth signs are tangible, practical. So with this, Uranus meeting up with her sun, there's a 1 degree difference between them. So this is almost an exact conjunction. Uranus comes over here in her 11th house, meets up with the sun. The 11th house has to do with accolades. The 11th house has to do with awards, rewards. It has to do with groups. of people that you are associated with. So, and this gives her, Uranus coming in here brings this lightning, light, have her be able to be seen even more than the 10th house and receive rewards for the work done in the 10th house. That's what the 11th house does. It enables you to receive rewards for the work you've done in the 10th house, in the 10th house of your career. So when we have Uranus come in here, we see her, boom, receiving awards. So when we see her on the Rotten Tomatoes, she has a 100% rating for the work that she's done. Okay? So what else do we have here? So Pluto. She has Pluto in the sign of Libra at 22 degrees, sitting right here. Okay? In the first house, right on the cusp of the rising, in the sign of Libra. It is making a trine to Venus on this day is at 23 degrees. So there is a trine from Venus on the 31st, is in the sign of Gemini, making a trine to Pluto. Pluto is about transformation. Pluto is about the truth as well. So joining up with Venus, these air signs have to do with communication. Venus has to do with art. So she was able to dig deep. She had so much beauty and art in this, but it was very deep. It was revealing. It was about exposing Pluto, exposing the lies and the deception that has gone on as it relates to the people of Africa, and to do it in a beautiful way. Here we go, having to do with Venus in the sign of Gemini. So that Venus comes right here in the ninth house, comes here in the ninth house for Beyonce, having to do with foreign travel. Let me highlight this. Having to do with foreign travel, having to do with various cultures. And as she said, she traveled all over to be able to create this work. She traveled to Johannesburg, South Africa, to Ghana. She even traveled to London. So we can see that work here. And the trine is here. Okay. And let's see what else we have that would be really significant. So we have the moon on this day is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So the moon on the 31st was at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. That moon comes over here and strengthens Beyonce's third house, making a conjunction to Neptune in Sagittarius right here in her third house. So the third house has to do with communication. It has to do with community. It has to do with short distance travel. But it is mainly about teaching, sharing higher philosophical information. That's what Sagittarius is about, sharing philosophical information, higher ways of believing and thinking, and she absolutely did that. The moon represents, because she released this to the world, it has to do on a macro level, it has to do with the people. So she released this information and the beauty of Neptune with it, her higher thoughts and beliefs. was released to the people and was received by many highly, but it was very controversial what her beliefs are. But this was something that gave her access to people at large. This moon in Sagittarius, introducing information about various cultures, Sagittarius, people, different ways of thinking and being and believing, Sagittarius. So the moon conjunct Neptune, and of Neptune again, I think that it absolutely is beautiful, but it did bring some level of confusion, Neptune, to people who saw it or are even afraid to see it. Okay, so this is a way that you can use astrology to be able to determine what is the best day and time to release your project. I do want to mention that she released it at 3 a.m. 3 is associated with, like we said, this third house. The number 3 is associated with Mercury, which rules over communication. Beyonce is one, as she has made clear, she is one that celebrates the Orisha. So the Orisha are a group of deities from West Africa, Yoruba people in particular, which has a deity called Elegua. And Elegua is associated with this mercurial energy. And his number is 3. And he, like Mercury, carries information to and from every which way. He is the Lord of communication and the gatekeeper that opens and closes the gates. His number not only is 3, but it is 21 to be exact. So again, her MC is at 21 degrees. Mercury was at 21 degrees on this day that this happened, on July 31st at 21 degrees. And so for sure, Beyonce was trying to honor this Orisha Elegua and making sure that the gates were open for her communication to be received by the masses and received well. And in this, with the Orisha, a part of this tradition is that Elegua would be honored first before you honor any of the other Orisha, because he opens the gates for any of the communication to happen for any of the other Orisha or anything that you endeavor to do. So that's just a little bit to add on to that. So I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to come back with another video highlighting how Beyonce celebrated the Orisha throughout the film Black is King. Again, my name is Letitia. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you soon.